wish it was Christmas.
Oh, Christmas isn't just a day. It's a frame of mind.
That's what Christmas is all about.
I love this Christmassy time of year.
Wish it was Christmas in New York.
It's practically here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, count to 3.
1, 2, 3.
Six Christmas specials and counting. 4 unique, one-of-a-kind items. 2 tour guides up for the challenge of bringing the Big Apple home on a budget during the biggest holiday of the year. All wrapped up together in one neat little Christmas present from us to you. An Esprit spectacular that even Radio City Music Hall would approve of. Hopefully. Live from New York and New Jersey, this is our own very merry Saturday night! One and welcome all to the Thrift Store Rundown's 6th annual Christmas special. Imagine that! In a span of 5 years, we've managed to create 6 low-cost yet highly spirited ways to make the Yuletide gay. If you fancy your life that way, or if you're just a straight shooter all the way through. Regardless of what or who you identify as or with, for the past 6 Christmas videos, we've invited everybody to make merry while still staying mindful of their wallets, never ruling out fun along the way. If you didn't get the memo, if you saw the 4 items in the intro, including the first one I'm about to review, 2 books and 2 games, this is all about how New York does Christmas. And believe me, even though I've never been to New York for Christmas, and that's certainly on my bucket list itinerary, they know how to do Christmas right. So, with that in mind, why don't we do the same? And unleash our native New Yorker with a Christmas spectacular that nobody would dare forget about! And of course, we can't have any fun on an empty stomach. So naturally, our first visit is to the Palm Restaurant. Specifically, the original Palm Restaurant, opened on 2nd Avenue in 1926 by Walter Ganzi Sr. and Bruno Barzi. Their offspring, Bruce Barzi and Wally Ganzi, opened up this cookbook with a letter to their loyal customers and readers who are the recipients of their heartfelt thanks. This cookbook, featuring recipes and stories from the classic American steakhouse, also features a preface and a foreword by the late Larry King and Brian Dennehy, 2 media giants who have had their caricatures drawn on the walls of and spirits and taste buds lifted inside a Palm Restaurant. And there are many Palm Restaurants, by the way, not to mention the 4 in New York. There are also ones in DC and Florida, and even a couple in Hollywood, like at the Staples Center. I think that, along with this cookbook, is a testament to the Palm's legend and just how delicious the food really is, even though I've never been to a Palm myself. Regardless, you'll feel like you've been to the Palm yourself if you pick up this cookbook, which I did for 75% off the price of $2.99. This running press publication was published by, and there are so many ways I can go with the pronunciation of your name, miss. None of them good. Brigitte Ligieri Binns, or Bridget Ligier Binns. One or the other, although I'm sure somehow, someway I will be corrected by somebody related to you. Anyway, with more info about the Palm's legend and its lore, here's a video from the local New York travel show, 212 Scene.
At 85 years and counting, the Palm is the quintessential New York steakhouse.
The Palm is a can't-miss dining experience in the 212 scene because it's more than the food. There's history, there's noise, there's people, there's celebration.
The Palm has 4 locations in the city. The first 2 are located just across the street from each other on 2nd Avenue.
Funny thing about the Palm too is in 1974 we were so busy that my father and his partner used to look across the street at this restaurant that was just doing no business. And my dad said, you know what? We should take over that space and have it as an overflow restaurant. And what's happened over years is it's become its own place.
The first thing you need to know about the Palm is the food is phenomenal. First and foremost, the prime-aged steaks. Favorites include the 14-ounce filet and the double New York strip for $2.
It's a gorgeous piece of meat, charred on the outside.
The 4-pound lobster is also a must.
These lobsters come straight from Nova Scotia daily.
And you've got to try the half and half potato chips and half onion strings.
It's the best potato chip you're ever gonna have. You'll love it.
Palm 2 executive chef Michael Decker also recommends the veal marsala.
Traditional Italian dish has been served here at the Palm since 1926.
And the chicken parmigiana.
Everybody that you talk to in the city says, y'all got the best chicken parm, they're right.
The Palm's signature decor, caricatures on the walls.
We have one up there, it's Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay.
Right, the one on the wall there is the original Popeye.
The tradition dates back to the 1930s.
It became sort of this thing to get your face on the wall at the Palm. The Palm always has a place on its wall for a new good customer.
Here's a 2-and-2 scene tip. If you head to the Palm 2, ask for Gus, a key player in keeping up the Palm's time-honored traditions.
We try to keep it the same like the first day we started work at the Palm, because the people like that.
He's iconic in the city. Gus is one of those great old school maitre d's that knows your face, remembers what you like, remembers your kid's birthday.
And did we mention the main reason why the locals keep coming?
You can't get a better steak in New York.
Why don't we go ahead and feast our eyes on this scrumptious looking photo insert. The only one in here, so I feel like I should take my sweet time waxing poetic about this book's deliciousness. Here we have their signature aged New York strip steak, which needs no accoutrements save for a Michael Cope martini. We have here an order of double-cut Maryland lamb chops with a side of asparagus fritti and to sip a McClure cocktail, which you can barely make out here in this photo. The artistic blurring does get to me a little bit, but not that much. A true Palm original for the pasta course or as an entree. Linguine with mortadella and arugula alla Tony. The Tony being executive chef Tony Tamero, who contributes nearly all of the recipes in here, a good majority of them Palm signature originals. Quality ingredients meeting Palm technique enhancing this classic caprese preparation. Buffalo mozzarella with tomatoes, or tomatoes if you're not really a New Yorker, basil and extra virgin olive oil, with what appears to be a sprinkling of freshly cracked black pepper, the only way to do it. Seafood linguine prepared 2 ways. In white clam sauce, fragrant with garlic, over clams, and shrimp prosciutto. Also, another signature simple pleasure, the Palm's prime rib, with a perfect baked potato and California Cabernet. The prime rib, as with many steaks at the Palm Steakhouse, which is not really just a steakhouse, USDA choice cut.
Real meaty meat.
And I say that because, well, there's a lot more than steak going on here. I mean, you saw the pasta, you're seeing this big, jumbo Maine lobster, which features its own recipe in here, being held by executive chef Tony Tamero, who assures you that it's not difficult to prepare a massive mammoth like this.
You're phenomenal! Truly a hard body.
There are many pasta dishes, many steak dishes, many seafood dishes, poultry dishes, veal, chicken, pork. We also have here soups and salads and, yes, desserts, providing a sweet ending to a real sweet book.
Sweet!
This is veal malfafa, not found on any Palm menu. It's exclusive to this cookbook, with arugula salad providing a fabulous foil for the savory pounded veal rib chop. As you're feasting your eyes on this photo and set, main courses, sides, desserts, and starters galore. It's also a feast for your mind too, You'll hear many anecdotes from many Palm staffers across their many restaurants across the country regarding celebrity clientele stories, stories of preparing the meals on the back end, at the back lines, on the front lines. And these stories come from chefs, servers, waiters, even a couple of suits, a couple of general managers. Some recipes are contributed by those staffers as well. The recipes in here should serve 2, 4, 6, 8, and even a few big crowds as well. And during this time, we definitely classified 10 or 12 as a big crowd, which is where you really gotta exercise caution if you're going to serve that many people. COVID-19 is not completely eradicated, folks. It isn't history yet. So even if you're holding a piece of history like this, you still gotta be mindful of that. What you should also be mindful of is that some of the recipes in here will call for ingredients that are not so commonplace in your regular corner grocery store or big chain grocery store anymore. Like Paul Prudhomme's steak seasoning, there is a recipe in here for homemade seasoning like Jeffrey's rub. But other than that, it's pretty much your call. And I don't know if they do recommend any substitutions. Actually, I do. They do recommend substitutions if you can't find some ingredients that some of the recipes call for. But other than that, this is definitely a spiritually colorful visit to the Palm restaurant. While not that colorful internally, save for the photo inset, I mean, aside from that, the rest of the photos here are indeed black and white. You'll feel like that you're among the in crowd after preparing any one of these recipes. And that's a damn fine way to go for 75% off the price of $2.99, or for the retail price of $29.95. This was originally purchased at a home goods store. If you're in Canada, $37.95, in the UK, £20 even. A classic steakhouse, a superb Italian-American restaurant, and a power lunch mainstay. Given the amount of steak recipes in here, I think this is more of an Italian-American chain of restaurants than it is a classic American steakhouse, but who's to complain? By the way, you see all those caricatures? That's another signature part of the Palm restaurant. All of these celebrity caricatures, many of whom, their presence is no longer felt, but of course their spirits are immortal. Larry King, Robert Wagner, Robin Williams, Don Meredith, Johnny Carson, the late king of late night, among others. These are the characters that you'll find when you open this book, in the front and in the back. I wish they had a different set of caricatures for the back. But other than that, I mean, this is a feast for your eyes, for your taste buds, and I should also say for the nostalgia factor off the charts for your heart. Right in the palm of your very hands.
Disney posted my Christmas vlogs. Yes, I did went to a place. It was very fun. It was really extraordinary. And it was stupendous. I don't know how to just react. But it was fun.
Greetings from New York City.
the mirror on the wall. Whose library is the snazziest and most info-packed of them all? That would be mine, thank you very much. Alright, Foul Pals, let's face it. Even though you, or I, may never again be able to high-five Jimmy from atop the studio audience rafters after the Tonight Show from NBC Studios in 30 Rockefeller Plaza, which is where we're spiritually visiting next, my hope is that after watching this, you'll feel like you got a spiritual high-five from Jimmy after conquering the Face It Challenge. One of 3 home games the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon developed in conjunction with Hasbro Gaming based upon 3 of the most popular game segments between Jimmy Fallon and his guests. I grew up around the Jay Leno era. Jay Leno, like Jimmy Fallon, was an everyman comedian. I remember during the intros for the Tonight Show with Jay Leno that he would come out and shake hands with all the front row and second row studio audience members during his traditional standing ovation. Jimmy Fallon does this in reverse. Instead, he runs up and down the stairs high-fiving the studio audience, which, thanks to COVID, may never happen again. COVID never takes a holiday, folks. Nevertheless, this Face It Challenge was developed for 2 or more players ages 10 and up. It was picked up for $3.99 from the red, white, and blue thrift store on McLean Boulevard in Patterson, a little farther from the studio, but still plenty close to home. And while I don't know if second-hand sales do benefit the Serious Fun Children's Network, of which both the Hasbro and the Tonight Show are proud supporters, what I do know is that the rules of this game are deceptively simple to follow, which is why it makes it so addicting to play. All you do is pick out a card from the card box here, and you make whatever face the card tells you to do. Like, for example, stuck on a crowded bus with a weirdo, which is me every single time I get on an NJ Transit or Express Service bus. You practice that face in the mirror for a few seconds until you get it right. Let's zoom in so you can see my face a little clearly. And yeah, aside from this being the game mirror, which I've already attached to the game base, which is double-sided, this is just a great all-purpose mirror for if you need to do some light touch-ups in the morning, like I do. As a matter of fact, a heavy-duty touch-up I need to save. But aside from that, anyway, you gotta practice that face that the card tells you to make in this mirror, so that you're ready to make your opponent crack up. That would be it. And once you got that face nailed down, you press this yellow button here on the side of the game base, the mirror drops down. Well, you get the gist of it. You hold that face until your opponent cracks up and laughs. If he or she does so, you win the challenge. If you manage to make your opponent crack up 3 times, you win the game full stop. One more time for the cheap sheets. Hint, hint, NJ Transit. Perhaps you should reinstate the social distancing rules on every single bus. Oh well. That's just one of 99 Face It challenges contained in this little card box here, which is different from the one advertised on the back of the box, but hey, still the same challenges. What's not contained in here are the game rules and instructions. You know me, I'm always wary about games of any kind that contain no instructions or game rules. But really, I just explained them, so you need more clarification. So here again, TTPM Toy Reviews.
First, assemble a mirror stand and shuffle the cards to begin. Each player looks into the mirror, and a card is chosen and read as the players practice their faces in the mirror. When a face has been struck, drop the mirror to reveal the face-off challengers. Freeze!
I'm laughing already, so I lost.
Get them to laugh or break before you do. The winner keeps the card as score. The first to win 3 face-off challenges wins the game.
TTPM, they always come in handy, especially when people don't do their due diligence and leave the instructions inside a game if they plan to donate it to a thrift shop. So I gotta take points off for that. But you know what? The game's beauty lies in its simplicity, and of course, it's spot on, endless, relentless, and somewhat family-friendly humor. Hello, ages 10 and up. There might be some TVY7 humor in here, but you know what? Dang Sony camera. Alright, no more. Then shut up! Aside from everything I just said, this really is a fun game to play. It's simple, and hey, the mirror does double duty. A great mirror for the game, and a great mirror for everyday life, really. Let's show you some more primetime examples of late-night buffoonery that this game will provide you with. On the left, look at a delicious ice cream cone. Yeah. We also have here cheesy thumbs up, squinting to read a menu, chicken laying an egg, stub your toe. So really what this boils down to is everyday and not so everyday scenarios. Just where you're being puzzled, or touched, or you're just laughing your head off, or you're just bewildered beyond belief. Sleepy kitten, cow chewing grass. Did I mention that you'll also be making some animal faces in here too? Blowing a kiss. We also have here, trying to fit your fist in your mouth.
That's right, Tim. He's got it.
Oh, it's good.
Trying to kiss someone through glass. Thumbtack. Robot trying to be human. One more. Wet dog shaking off the rain. In all, 100 challenges in here, including the one I demonstrated stuck on a crowded bus with a weirdo. In our never-ending quest to find great party games, well, we came about another one that you will definitely fall for. Right, Jimmy Fallon? I hope you can agree with me on this one. And given the particular roots of this purchase and this review, I don't think there's anything not to love about the Face It Challenge.
Greetings from New York City.
Look at that ball drop. Look at that ball drop. That ball. That's of course. It could be hurt to that. You just see it, ball drop. Yo, you know. Because of this pandemic, can't get closer, but the biggest one.
Let's get closer.
Yeah, like it was better. I have a lot of that, but not this.
the halfway point with this Christmas special, and we are going to remain at NBC Studios for the next review, which is Saturday Night Live, the book. Now, I already own 2 commemorative People magazine issues celebrating the 40th and 45th anniversaries of, needless to say, a comedy powerhouse, which has been flying high with the mighty Peacock for over 45 years. But as hard as it is for me to believe, what Allison Castle did managed to stop both of those issues into the ground. She has compiled the complete history and making of SNL, all of its legend and lore, ever since 1975. Over 2,300 images from SNL's archives, amidst the black and white and color on-set behind-the-scenes post-production photography, all contained in here. Along with a complete breakdown of the 6-day show cycle, a complete season's reference guide, and an exclusive Q&A between the author and Lorne Michaels. All of this to celebrate 40 years of SNL. So, as they say in show business, stick around. This tacit publication was purchased for 25% off the price of $5.99. So let's go ahead and run through the 6-day show cycle, which is so thoroughly detailed and lavishly photographed that you really do get a complete understanding of what goes down before all the comedy goes down. Because really, serious comedy like this is serious funny business. Monday, Tuesday. Tabula rasa. On Monday, the 6-day timers were set to 0. Everything begins again with the host arrives to meet the team and share sketch ideas. Tuesday is when the writing happens, and it's when all the good ideas have to become good sketches in order to survive. So once again, a mix of black and white and color photography. Black and white from the early years of SNL, to color photography and HD photography for the later years of SNL going forward. Images of the cast and crew, hard at work, serious about creating some serious comedy. Wednesday, sketches are finalized, submitted, and performed at the read-through. Decisions are made, and picks are announced. Writers meet with set and costume designers, makeup and hair artists, and the director to begin the process of bringing those sketches to life. Again, the read-through, and then the beginning of the design process. Next up, Thursday and Friday. After a few days of relative peacefulness, during these 2 days, Studio 8H comes roaring to life again as the action moves from the 17th to the 8th floor of 30 Rock. Cue cards are written by the hundreds, rehearsals begin, writers rewrite, extras cast, network censors are placated, musical arrangements and graphics are created, pre-tapes and bumper photos are produced and shot, sets built, props selected, costumes and rigs researched, sourced, and designed. And finally, the running order for Saturday's dress rehearsal. So in short, the majority of the laborious prep work is done on Thursdays and Fridays, with everybody having a hand. Control room staff, set and costume designers, makeup and hair artists, and of course, the cast. Continuing their read-throughs and getting into position to shoot bumpers for affiliate stations, promotional materials in both video and in photography, of course. In addition to the photographs, there's also plenty of artistic sketches in here. Artist renderings of several SNL cast members, alive and deceased. Then, of course, we have the big day, Saturday. Sets completed and dressed, rehearsals and costume, last-minute script changes, cute card writers in overtime, backstage meal break, a live audience dress rehearsal, and last-minute cuts and rewrites as the final countdown to the live show begins. This is crunch time. There's a We Can Do It Together camaraderie that fills the air of Rockefeller Center, the 8th floor at Studio 8H. The cast and crew can feel it, and if they feel it, then the live audience certainly will feel it too. You might recognize a couple of SNL cast members in your day, which really could be any day throughout the show's 40 years here and 45 years afterward, that you stand, as today's kids might say, a great deal. Along the same token, you might also recognize a few host monologues, sketches, musical performances, and even a few sketches cut for time that you can find online that you also wholeheartedly adore. You may recognize them in here. That's how comprehensive and thorough this is. This is when it all comes together. Live from New York, it's truly Saturday night. 2 minutes before air, the warm-up lighting dims to black, and the cold open lights come up. The performers enter the stage and take their places. Lorne Michaels, the creator and executive producer of SNL, checks his watch and gives last-minute notes. The house band stops playing at precisely 11:28, with 30 seconds to spare before 11:29. The hush of anticipation washes over the studio. The stage manager begins the countdown. There's a brief moment of total silence. The on-air sign lights up, and the show begins. This black section in here is definitely the thickest of the entire 6-day show cycle. That's where you see all of the host monologue photos, the sketch photographs, and of course, the musical performers too, with plenty of captions labeled next to them, or underneath them, placed wherever they have open space to place them, okay? As far as the text to photograph ratio goes, the pictures really do speak 1,000 words, so I'd say the text to photograph ratio is fairly equal, given Alison Castle's text being thorough and succinct in introducing these photographs and chapters. From cue cards to cameras, from music to sketch mayhem, there's not one facet that Alison Castle did not touch to ensure that this book would outdo any other Saturday Night Live making-of book that I've ever seen, really. And that includes discussing the Weekend Update. R.I.P. Norm Macdonald, who I know best as playing Norm the genie from the Fairly Odd Parents. He was fantastic in that. This is a section called Dear Lorne. Letters to the big boss of comedy from NBC hierarchy and fellow cast members, like here Tom Brokaw, and also here Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Let's throw it back here to opening this. As soon as you open it up, you know you're getting a proper introduction. You see all these images here? All these images, all these stills from the show are all from that iconic introduction given by many a cast member and host over many years. Live from New York, it's Saturday night. This happens to be the most poignant of them all. This was September 29th, the season premiere of SNL. Mayor Rudy Giuliani announcing that iconic intro amongst a slew of New York City firefighters and policemen. I think you know why. Paul Simon was the musical performer who kicked off the show as well, with an emotional performance of The Player. The Q&A with Lorne Michaels details, among other things, his decision to take a 5-year sabbatical from SNL and return in '85. This is an illustrated encyclopedia of SNL from seasons 1 to, yes, 45. Cast headshots, a listing of SNL principal crew members, opening photography, sketch photography, cast portraits, and other photographic memorabilia in here. A listing of hosts, musical guests, air dates, and special guests, plus season highlights. You'll get them all in here at the beginning of each season outlined in this chapter, along with the principal cast listing, and who was in charge of anchoring the Weekend Update, whether solo or dual. I can remember one of the only times that SNL, and it might have been the only time, I'm not sure, I haven't seen it, but one of the only times, or the only time that they ever went away from New York was doing a live Mardi Gras special, which was a near disaster. Ever since then, it's been live from New York, and it has stayed that way for many years. As far as the cast photography goes, spanning decade after decade, it's hilarious, it's nostalgic, and I have to say, dare I say, it's sexy. We close out with a bunch of on-air graphics for their segments, their shows within the shows, the various recurring segments, like Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood. You can find that here on the bottom right-hand corner. And we end with a plethora of good nights to the home and studio audiences. This is the story of the most remarkable show on television. This is a celebration of all the humor brought into the world and of the people who have made that happen. This is the book of Saturday Night Live. And it is quite, to put it succinctly, a really big shoe with no retail price to find, believe it or not. Still, for any SNL lover, what Allison Castro has done has put together a work of pure art, fit for any king or queen or wannabe prince or princess of Staten Island. I hate you, Pete Davidson, for the record, but not that much.
Greetings from New York City.
The tree. That's not it. The tree you see there is not it. I'll pick one. Or something like that. There boys, the tree. There it is. The beautiful tree in New York. I got the side, but take a closer look at it. Definitely the best, the biggest tree of all time, as they say. In the U.S. Very good, oh, the silver, I'm sorry, I know. Yeah. Get the shot, shall we? You can see it behind me, yes. The tree. Biggest tree again. Not bad.
Final review, we're bringing it all full circle. Or in this case, bringing it all full hexagon. One highly detailed, colorful, artistic hexagon, which is the shape of this particular snowflake. You know they vary in design if you've ever seen one up close. Regardless, I'm certain New Line Cinema film Elf is a staple in most homes across America this holiday season. If not for Will Ferrell as Buddy the Elf, or James Caan, or Jon Favreau's direction, or John Debney's awesome score, then certainly, hopefully, for Zoe Deschanel. She's a snowflake. Regardless of who you fancy in this film, I hope that this will become a holiday staple in your home too. This is their officially licensed Journey from the North Pole game, which, like the Face It Challenge, I picked up for $3.99. It was designed by Prospero Hall for Funko Games, for 2 to 4 players ages 8 and up, which requires about 20 minutes of gameplay. You see here the Elf logo and the Warner Brothers shield. It's how you know that this was officially licensed. As far as Prospero Hall goes, I have to say, they are living long and prospering when it comes to licensed games, from stage and screen, silver and small screens. I have another game for Prospero Hall, and that would be the Carpool Karaoke game. Yes, that Carpool Karaoke from the Late Late Show with James Corden. That's another review for another day. Help Buddy the Elf find his dad by leading him on a loopy route from the North Pole, right at the top of the snowflake here, that's where the elf mover is, all the way to New York City, right down below, at the very bottom corner here. Play path cards on the board to move Buddy the Elf, leading him toward your favorite landmarks along the way to score points. The player with the most points when Buddy the Elf finds his dad wins.
Welcome to Elf Journey from the North Pole. In this game, players control Buddy the Elf as he journeys from the North Pole to New York City to meet his dad. Each player has a goal card featuring different locations they want Buddy to visit on his journey. As Buddy visits locations, they are assigned point values, which will be scored at the end of the game. The player with the most points at the end of the game wins. To get started, set up the game as shown in the instructions. The player whose birthday is closest to Christmas goes first. On your turn, you must move Buddy the Elf by playing at least one path card in front of him. Line up the line on the card with the arrowhead on the previous card, without overlapping them. If the previous card's arrowhead is in the corner, you can rotate the next path card any way you'd like. Each time you play a path card, move Buddy onto that card. After you've finished playing cards, draw 2 more path cards from the deck and play proceeds clockwise. If a newly placed path card touches any part of a location token, take that location token and place it in the first available leftmost scoring slot at the top of the board. The location is now worth the number of points shown under that slot at the end of the game for all players who have that location on their goal card. There are also 3 types of special locations that award points or special abilities when you play a path card that touches them. Gingerbread men score you extra points at the end of the game. Ice flows allow you to play your next path card on the ice flow on the other side of the board. Maple syrups allow you to draw an extra path card. The game ends either when all path cards are played or when a player reaches the New York City snow globe space. If a player lands on the New York City snow globe, they take the snow globe token, which is worth 2 points. To count your score, reveal your goal card and add up the points for each location Buddy visited during the game, as shown by the location token scoring slot at the top of the board. If he didn't visit a location, it's worth no points. Add any extra points you have from Gingerbread Men or the Snow Globe, and the player with the most points wins.
I've already assembled the Snowflake game board, which I have to say is double-sided, but you only see one side of detail. This side. You turn it around and you just see a snowflake design. I'll show you when we get to it. If you want more detailed instructions on gameplay, you'll find them here in this short pamphlet. But the goal is simple, as I just read on the back of the box. Contents include the game board, 12 tokens, 7 gold cards, 60 path cards, 1 Buddy the Elf mover, along with instructions. First get this. You do have to assemble the snowflake game board yourself. And unlike an actual snowflake, this thing isn't delicate to assemble. However, it's pretty delicate if you try to flip it around and sew the other side. See what I did here? Yep. But all the pieces do fit snugly together to ensure that the game board doesn't fall apart when you're using it. World's best coffee. Well, folks at New Line Cinema and David Javenbaum, screenwriter, couldn't just officially license Starbucks coffee for this and be done with it. Oh well. Other than that, their imagination was hard at work here. Come on, we have Candy Cane Forest, the North Pole, obviously, that's your starting destination, Gumdrop Village, Narwhal Pal, Central Park, of course, Animal Friends, and the Wise Snowman. So I'd say here, within these 3 token spaces, those are helpful characters you'll meet along the way. And the outer spaces here, locations. And at the center of it all is one buddy that you'll want to befriend each and every time you watch the film or play this game. If you haven't seen Elf, well then, what have you been doing around the holidays? Truth be told, I haven't seen Elf, aside from the trailers and a couple of clips every now and then when it plays on TV. So if you have other friends who haven't seen Elf, well then, this would be a great game to make friends with, because really, everybody needs a buddy, especially around the holidays. I wouldn't mind getting jovial with Jovi. That's who Zoe Deschanel plays in the film, but that, my friends, alas, is another Christmas story.
I barely know them. I just met him, but I love them.
Before we wrap up this Christmas present, I want to show you something incredibly thoughtful that my partner in crime, Donna Iannelli, mailed me. This is the very last print copy of O's Oprah magazine. Fittingly, it's her favorite things. You don't get a car, but you could get 72 of her favorite things. That was so thoughtful of you, Donna. However, little do you know, I actually bought this same copy from the Target at the Bergentown outlets in Paramus and reviewed it for Black Friday last year. So now I gotta find that copy and give it to somebody. Along with this came a note from Donna that says, "Dear Pete, this is the last copy of O Magazine in print. Oprah went digital with the publication in 2021. I thought you might like it for your collection of all things wonderful." This note, by the way, was written on a St. Jude Children's Research Hospital paper. You know, her late mom, Judy, and our connection with St. Jude. That came about because of Sasa in Good Taste. I love you, Sasa Pitiesa. Wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a new year filled with all good things. Love, Donna. P.S. It is better to give than to receive. There is no need to return the kindness. Your friendship is gift enough. Well, how thoughtful is that? But there is this extra bonus here that I am so excited to unwrap. Let's see what we got under here. Well, how fantastic is this? An IHOP gift card and an Amazon gift card, both in the amounts of $25. Donna, you are one heck of a doll, and there is no possible way I can thank you enough for this. Well, boys and girls, which of these 4 presents would you want under your Christmas tree? Honestly, I don't know which one I would choose out of this festive foursome. But why don't we find out together? As you know, the maximum rating I can give for each of these items is 5 claps, meaning a possible score of 20 claps in total. So the way I'm going to score this down the line is half and half. One half of the items, 2 of them will be sharing the same grade. The other half, the other 2, will be sharing a different grade. And the top half would be Elf's Journey from the North Pole Game and Saturday Night Live, the book by Alison Castle, because they are just colorful as they can be, and they are just flawlessly awesome. And I'm not a fan of either of these 2 pop culture perennials, but you know what? I would definitely take either of these gifts under my Christmas tree. As far as the Palm Restaurant Cookbook and the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's Face It Challenge goes, well, they both have imperfections, but they're perfectly imperfect, so they share the same grade as well, 4.5. Out of the maximum of 5 claps, for a final total of 19 out of 20. I should ask you, by the way, besides Elf and A Christmas Story, what is your favorite holiday movie of all time? It could be something that's so iconic like the Polar Express that you know it as a household name, or something completely innocuous yet still charming for the holidays, like any Lifetime or Hallmark TV movie that you find this season. And in the case of the former, Staging Christmas would be a great example, and there's one person who makes it that way.
Yay! The love of my life, Charlie Moonfine! Yay! This was, I believe, a couple years ago when he made this. I never heard of it until, like, a few months ago when my feelings really started to deepen. I thought I'd never see this. Oh, I am so smitten with Soleil Moon Fi.
By the way, Soleil Moon Fi, while I love you to bits, you're not immune, sweetheart, from review. Nobody is. Which is why your book Happy Chaos is getting the TSR treatment this New Year's Eve. But other than that, folks, if you can't celebrate Christmas in New York, then this, I hope, will be the best way for you to walk like a Rockefeller around the Christmas tree, no matter how small it might be compared to the one in Rockefeller Center. Nevertheless, I hope you let that Christmas spirit ring tonight without spending a lot of cha-ching in the process. And on behalf of everybody here at the Thrift Store Rundown and the Romero Roundup, joyous tidings to one and all, and to all a very lit night. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the flip side. Merry Christmas!
Say goodbye, Santa Claus. Say goodbye, Santa. Say goodbye, reindeer. Say goodbye, Santa. Pet. Say goodbye. Everything. Well, until next year's Christmas. Hello guys, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
That's all.
Feliz Navidad a todos mis seres queridos. A mi hijo David, a mi esposa Linda, a mi mamá, y a los demás de toda mi familia. Los quiero mucho y este año que sea de mucha prosperidad y mucha felicidad en cada uno de sus hogares. Gracias.
Okay, Merry Christmas. Hey, gracias, papá, firmar. Y gracias, papi. Okay, thank you, Mom. Bobby, Merry Christmas, Bobby. Okay. Mom, my dad, and there you go. That's it, but the show is not over yet. There's still more to come. We're about to go to another house to celebrate Christmas Day. I just got 3DS XL, and I'm so excited. I also got the soccer game. I can record a video. Feature presentation of George Sanchez. Say Merry Christmas, George. Okay, look at the candy canes at the stairs. I am just gonna look at it. The music too. See the view. There's music there, and there's a wreath. Look, an ornament. Special wreath going down. What is he getting for Christmas? He got He got. Look what he got. This is a cool system. That's an iPad. Unbelievable. iPad!
What is that?
Mini!
An
iPad Mini! I can't believe it! He got an iPad Mini for Christmas! How exciting! What else did he got? He got a charger for Christmas. Good charger. Charger for iPad Mini.
You have butter.
A cool iPad that I have. Say Merry Christmas. Now open the present. Now see what you're getting. Is the angel getting something? Is he getting what he got? And he got a train. A train kit. The coolest train that he got ever seen. Look at this. Look at this. The greatest part. The show must be going on. Look, what time is it now? 1:01. And do this. He's getting the greatest present that he ever got. You got another one too. And that is Camila, the little
Thank you.
the greatest show on the earth. What else did he got? He got another present. He got a Spider-Man. That's a mask. I think it's a mask. Well, that's not it. I don't know. What is that? Two Spider-Man kits with a mask and the glove thing. Cool present. And he got Iron Man. Leandro, do all your things away. And he got another present too. Alright, my present is up. There's a trunk. Tow truck. And we got another present. That's about. To experience, and he got cars.
And this one.
Good day. And Merry Christmas.
With all my videos.